welcome back to the PB podcast. We're today I actually have a topic. I mean, it's technically the same topic that I was going to do earlier, but I just hadn't gotten around to actually. I didn't feel like talking about it last time. Alright, so while I work on getting limestone, not that I really need more concrete, but I just made a blueprint for wet concrete, and I want to try it out. So I had concrete, limestone over here somewhere. Alright. Now, the topic for today's session is objectively overpowered characters. Or at least, my experience in creating objectively overpowered characters using the rules as written, technically. Of course, any reasonable DM would not allow such a character, or such characters to actually be used in play. And a large bit of it is that they very much assume that there's a large assumption that the DM is going to allow any optional rule or but the DM would be facilitating this, not just so it's not something that you can really do on your own without your DM's permission, basically, but it is technically buildable with the rules as written, with the most generous interpretation. Alright, with that out of the way, my experience with creating these characters, well, it largely, is exclusively, with a fighter. So I did make one as a wizard. But, it's quick to see why it really doesn't matter. What class you're using. Also, hey, welcome to Purgatory, where I am planning on moving my anything that requires liquids moving forward. Plan. In order to not need pumps, I am moving all of my liquid-based stuff down here. Come on. On top of it. No, not just on top of... I need to... There we go. Okay. There we go. Now, down here, I plan on putting all my new concrete, my wet concrete construction.
Alright,
Let's think, where do I want? Actually, I suppose I could do this for... They're actually set out here. Yeah, I'm only gonna get like 1 or 2 high. Alright. Now, my wet concrete then needs 300 water. And 300, Should I do this again? You... I want to make sure that this is as high as it's allowed to be. I kind of want to make sure that this lines up properly. So... should be connected, right? Yeah, that's connected. Okay. Now, although my experience is almost exclusively with a fighter, I see no reason why it couldn't be just as powerful with pretty much any other class. As frankly, the thing that makes this whole build powerful is not the class features. And while I liked the fighter, champion fighter because of their regeneration speed at the time, and the number of attacks that they get, go. Now, these are gonna eat through a bunch of water really quickly. And I don't think this is producing enough water quickly enough, because I need a full pipe at all times. I gotta go figure that. It's the one on the right. Okay. I only figured out that I could go down there because my lizard doggo fell through the world. All three of the other ones, at least. And I found them at the bottom of the... 2, 3. There we go. There we go. This one's already full. No worries. Excellent. Now this should be producing concrete at an exceptional rate. Just realized that actually I need to make sure that these are at least tier 2, but I might have to change that. Now, I did make one as a wizard because I found that, well, not being able to access 9th level spells easily is a downside. And I suppose that there are advantages to certain classes, such as rogues, that would make, such as evasion or other similar abilities that would be incredibly useful. Or reliable talent is also very nice, I suppose, but really it's just a bit of extra, really. Alright, now I need to store this. I'm gonna make it bulk storage then. Each of them are producing 80. Means I just need to bulk. Yeah, I really need to update all of these. Something is acting like as a bottleneck somewhere. Now, there is also an argument that any class could really be viable with this build concept of making them objectively overpowered, but and I wouldn't know which one is the best, because it's not like you can really play these characters. But there's 3 optional rules that are key to making a character absolutely ridiculously overpowered. I call them the big 3, yes. So, to summarize, there's mixing potions, boons, and supernatural gifts. Specifically, the blessing version of supernatural gifts. And using the most generous interpretation of them. Okay, so to start off with mixing potions, there's like some excerpt on, I don't remember which page of. I needed this one. This would be nice too. What were they gonna do? Oh yeah, I was gonna check what was slowing down the. Oh yeah, it's only producing 120 per minute. That's right. I haven't hooked up all of the shards to it. Cut away. Alright. Now, this was true back in the 2014 rules, and upon inspection of the 2024 rules, it has remained the same, actually. But there was this optional rule where you could mix potions, and there was, or not necessarily unchanged, but mostly unchanged, I should say. Now, one thing to note is that these potion rules, this mixing potion rules, most of the stuff that it does isn't really relevant. Think it's like a random table from 0 to like 99 is basically just, you don't need to worry about it. It's the only one that you really care about is the 100% at 100, in which it states that the effect of one of the potions that you mixed together when the potion is drunk becomes permanent. And it gives an example of, like, a health potion increasing your maximum HP permanently instead of just healing you. Oh yeah. My stator maker is over here, packed up. In fact, everything I have over here is backed up. Now, this means that you can get permanent potion effects. So, logically, if you have a overpowered character, they would have every beneficial potion effect on them at all times. Permanently. Right? There are some pretty wild potion effects. I mean, you can become permanently invisible, you can become permanently huge, permanently be able to breathe fire, permanently be able to read minds. Just saying, We're good. Now, it's also important to note that rulings have indicated... I didn't realize I had an extra thing of iron. It's just unused. I could use that. I'd really need to use that to make more plate. Anyway, I was also going to do something else down below. Oh, yes. I was going to put my quartz production down there. Now, there is a ruling that you can't receive a stat change from two features of the same name. However, because this permanent potion effect is technically an unnamed source, it can stack. In fact, there's no indication that it can't stack. So, a generous DM would interpret that you can just keep on getting. Lovely. The potion effects, as long as they are reasonably stackable. Of course, you can't stack invisibility, that would be redundant, and that, but you can, for example, potion of speed. It doesn't say that it gives you the effect of a haste spell. It actually specifies, or at least it used to specify what it actually gave to you. It basically does everything that a haste spell, but it reiterates exactly what it does without actually being a haste spell. Gosh darn it. Right. This is exactly why I built it like how I did. Right? Blueprints, quartz crystals, another half box. So if I get an absurd amount of quartz crystals at some point, for some reason, or sorry, raw quartz, then I can totally create way more quartz crystals than I need. Each of these takes in 300 and produces 180, while the silica ones are even more insane, taking in, I believe, the 180 and producing 300. There we go. Basically, the argument is that if you got enough health potions and speed potions, and because the DM gets to choose which of the potion takes effect, you just, your character at some point spent Who knows how long, consuming who knows how many potions in order to, well, gain as much health as they have. And the longer they took, the more health they got. And so usually the example character that I made, they had, I believe, their current their current health is sitting at like 2 trillion because I decided that they would be have spent that long, and it's enough health to de-incentivize just using massive amounts of magic in order to deal that much damage, because dealing that much damage requires a ton of setup. Like, almost way too much setup, for being honest. Of course it's upside down. Why does it always go upside down? It's really hard to tell. So it's crystals, icon, part, this site. So I don't forget, because I might have to leave later. Really hope that's how you spell silicon. I have no clue. Great. Yeah, it is silica. Okay. That is how you spell silica. Lovely. Now I need to get quartz crystals down here. And I need to put enough storage to put store them down here. Why are my steel beams not being uploaded? Do I have to go get more Mercer spheres? Did I forget to hook it back up or something? That is also a possibility. Now, the more powerful thing is the potion of speed, because it doubles your speed every time you have it. Because this would be a permanent effect rather than the actual haste spell effect. Oh, does it take more than 800? Ah, that's probably the case then. I see. It takes more than 800. Alright. I don't know why it was... And I didn't have enough material, though, because I just grabbed. But... well, in a storage, then... There's one case that I think I will have to do this, actually. Okay. And then if I... well, I'll be producing a ton of silica, but first... okay. And that'll allow a ton of stuff to go through. Alright, lovely. So now if I hook up quartz to this one, it'll get thrown into storage. Now, not only does this potion of speed would double your speed, but it would also increase your AC by 2 every time that it's stacked. Give a bonus against dex saves. Thank you. It would give you that extra action every time. So, in theory, you would eventually become infinitely fast, or like just so fast that you would never run out of movement speed, ever. Unhittable unless they roll a 20. Pretty much automatically save any dexterity save. And you get to attack as many times as you can get this thing to stack. And that's a lot. You get permanent resistance to every type of damage that you can get a potion resistance for. And I mean, this is assuming a generous DM interpretation, because there's also the interpretation that the worst side of things, like always the worst potion gets made permanent, so you can't have the most powerful potion. Or the effect of a potion might be a downside, but if you have the most generous interpretation, then it stacks. Each of these permanent effects stacks, more importantly. And if it can stack, then you can get infinite of it. Or at least you can continue to get more of it. And so you just get a ton of it. Now, boons. Boons are fun, right? I don't know what I was going to do. I was going to... It's over here, the quartz. Let me put a conveyor here. Moving his back. Okay. Now I can come down here. There we go. Now it's onto the world. Man, it's so easy to get things under the world. Now, boons are interesting because they're like feats, but better and after level 30. And, well, a lot of them come with some pretty fun effects, I would say. Just fell off the world. Gotta figure out where I put... It's over here somewhere. Ah, is it there? Yeah, I'm gonna accidentally run off of this so many times. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's just... Come here. Okay. Now, there's lots of cool abilities that come with boons, but some of the more important things is that you can get a bunch of damage immunities. And if you have every boon, that means you have every damage immunity that it can get you. These damage immunities actually become very important later. out. Two. Okay. What's coming through? Yeah, of course. I don't think it's being transported here as fast currently, so I'm gonna have to go upgrade that. Now, boons also can give you any feat, so as it's an option to just get a feat or a stat bonus. So you could get every feat that you could ever need. Or want. You can get every stat up that you could ever need. And assuming that the stats just cap at 30, you would have maximum of the 30 stat. Maximum stat of 30. So I found that not everybody seems to believe that stats max at 30. But I mean, I don't know. It's just them, I guess. Now, that's just for some really nice, powerful stats. You also get to like be extremely stealthy. And at this point, because you've used the potions, you're already permanently invisible. And you get a bunch of, like, low-level spells that you can just always cast. Or, like, a free casting of 9th level spell, I think. So generally just some powerful stuff. She'd be a fool to complain about, right? Now, here's the real meat and potatoes, though. The supernatural gift. In particular, wondrous... Oh, sorry, blessings. Blessings are permanent effects that are given to you by some supernatural being. That have a few extra things. For example, they cannot be negated. They do not get negated by an anti-magic field. You can technically lose them if you lose favor with whatever god or being gave them to you. And while it is... and you can't have two of the same blessing. Now, normally, characters only get one blessing. Rarely they can get two. However, there's no indication that you can't get more, just that most people don't. So, of course, when creating an objectively overpowered character, you would have every possible blessing. Because we're trying to make an overpowered character here. And, well, the key passage, which I did double check, was in both the 2014 and now 2024 version, is that a wondrous magic item does... a blessing may also mimic the effect of a wondrous magic item. So while they do have, like, the small list of things... There we go. Might as well get this hooked up. Get it also producing at rate I need it to. And we'll pipe this one over as well. There we go. Now, that means that, technically, there is a blessing. There is a valid blessing, rules as written, for every wondrous magic item. And of course, that would include negative effects of wondrous magic items, but you don't need those. If you're making an overpowered character, you basically go, okay, so for every wondrous magic item, I have a blessing. As long as that wondrous magic item is beneficial to me in some... or is beneficial in any way and not detrimental overall. And, well, let me say, there are a lot of wondrous magic items. Because it's kind of that category, the catch-all category for stuff that they didn't have a category for already. So they just... So they kind of placed a lot of just generic magic items into the wondrous magic item category. And even then, there are some magic items that you gotta really wonder why they're a wondrous magic item instead of one of the other categories. So I'll take a few moments to go over some of my favorite magic items that are wondrous magic items. A few of the standouts, I suppose. in this ridiculousness if given to players to use infinitely. One of my favorites, Nozier's Magnificent Pigments, or Nozier's. I don't remember how it's spelled their name. I just know that it's magical pigment. And basically, it's a paint set that anything that you paint becomes real, as long as it doesn't cost too much. If it costs too much, then it just becomes fake real. So it'll technically come into reality, but it'll be made out of something of little worth. Which, that's that's okay, for the most part. Where it's more interesting for me is actually the fact that if you draw a space into an area, so like if you draw a door somewhere, then that door becomes real. If you draw a pit, there is now a pit there. And frankly, my favorite interaction is that technically, if you have a... There's an argument that if you have a portable hole, which has no set... it's important to note that a portable hole does not have a weight limit. It just has dimensions that it is supposedly supposed to take up. But if you're able to increase the size of the space by literally just drawing it as bigger, then it should, in theory, then be possible to take Nozier's Magnificent Pigments and literally draw a space is bigger inside of your portable hole. Thus, infinite-sized portable hole. Of course, it might not actually work that way, and I've heard arguments in why it wouldn't work that way. But we're going for generous interpretations here, so... And my generous interpretation is that, yes, you can. Increase the size of a portable hole. Now, that's all fun and all. Then there's each individual color, because these are technically the separate magic items of the dragon. Yeah, Mask of the Dragon. So the black, blue, red, green, all 5 of them, because there are 5 of those masks. Legendary magic items that basically give you advantage on like charisma checks when dealing with their associated dragon type, and resistance to their type of damage. Unless you already had resistance, then you gain immunity. If you had immunity, then you gain absorption. We had immunity to most elemental types of damage from Uh, well, actually, yeah, we had already got immunity or we had resistance to other type of damage already, of course. Because of potions, we have immunity to all elemental types of damage because of boons, or at least most elemental types. I think thunder, lightning, poison, fire. I don't know about acid though. Look at that. That one thing could fuel all three of those. And now I should have enough pipe in the system to... Nope. Alright, merger. I just realized, actually, I'm gonna need, like... both of these. Because I'm gonna have to take one of these, put it into a splitter. I'm gonna need a merger. A splitter. And another merger. So I'm gonna have to take this, put it there. This goes into here. Splits half of it into there, half it into there. That's gonna have to go there, and that's gonna have to go there. And you, up here, are gonna have to come down. That is a little bit annoying that I think it's all tilted. There we go. So now this should be filling this up with so much silica. That I literally can't store it fast enough. I have to, like, come in here and just start wildly throwing around. These. Okay. Now, the other thing about each of these masks is that they give you one use of legendary resistance, every one of them. So that's fun. Legendary resistance is nice. Now, funny thing is that there's also the Mask of the Dragon Queen, which is technically a different magic item. Therefore, you can get a blessing for it, and it is basically the combination of all 5 of them. So now you have absorption to all of the elemental damage types regardless. Absorption being that you regain half of the damage taken rather than taking damage. I don't think I could empty this faster than I'm filling it. Because I'm making so much silica right now. Like, there's no reason to ever have this much, I don't think. I'm not even sure how I would use all this. Alright. Yeah, so then that adds up to 10 uses of legendary resistance in total. Immunity to all elemental types. Yeah. And then you have like pretty good relations with pretty much every dragon ever. Now, well, at least every chromatic dragon, at least. Another key wondrous magic item to note is the Hand and Eye of Vecna. Separate and together. Some of the bonuses from there is like one casting of Wish once every 30 days. When you have both of them, you can afflict this. When you attack, you can touch someone who has bones. As long as they have bones, you can turn them to jelly, which is a DC 19 con save, or be instantly reduced to 0 HP. You have so many attacks, so you can just down someone immediately. Get True Sight with no distance limit. You just have True Sight. It literally doesn't have to tell you how far out it goes to, so you just assume that you can just see through all illusions always. And you get access to a bunch of spells, but there's an argument that you can't. But using those would be just bad, because the downside of casting those spells is potentially dangerous. Now, one outlier I think is funny every time that I see it is the Sword of Cass. Literally has sword in its name. Is a wondrous magic item. could not tell you why it is on the list, but it is. And it comes with some pretty cool bonuses. But another thing that because there's several wondrous magic items that come with major beneficial effects, which is like this chart that you roll on, and then that's like some artifacts and legendary magic items have these. The chart that you roll on, you would of course have all of the beneficial ones, as you're the overpowered character. Some of those come with like casting spells at will, immunity to petrified, stunned, paralyzed, blinded, deafened, charmed, frightened, exhaustion, etc. You get a significant bonus to initiative, an active health regen. Portable Hole itself is a wondrous magic item, so you would have a freely manifestable portable hole that you can just put anywhere. And this isn't even some of the most broken blessings. One of the more broken ones that I've found is the Deck of Many Things. If you can invoke any of the cards at any time, the most generous interpretation is that you can invoke any card that you want at any time. Which would be, like, means that you're able to summon an army of 4th level knights at any time, or whatever the new version of it is. You can generate wealth and magic items at a whim, gain bonuses to stats, cast Wish as much as you want, summon avatars of death, which might not be very good, but I mean, if you... Really, the benefit of that is convincing someone else to try to attack it, and then them regretting that. Which, that's another topic for another time. Infinite Wishes means that you can cast any spell of 8th level or lower for free, once per turn, basically. Which means that you could summon simulacrums, which can also do so, because they're capable of everything that you're able to. And because blessings are unaffected by anti-magic fields, you can literally just cast Wish to have an anti-magic field around you at all times, and that negates a lot of magic that would normally counter a lot of effects that you could cast. I mean, basically, your spells are, when you cast these spells, would be immune to anti-magic fields because, well, they're technically your blessing. Yeah, all of this silica and quartz, and I'm not even sure what I'm going to do with it. And because there's several wondrous magic items that give you the ability to ignore certain magical restrictions, such as the necklace that Hallister has in the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, in the Undermountain, or the amulet that does something similar for the Tomb of Annihilation or Tomb of Horrors. And, well, Wish itself usually ignores those anyway. You get enough of these magic items, and you start to see why your class stops really mattering. Because you basically have infinite actions infinite speed, infinite, basically can do anything that you want anyway. So unless you really wanted to get like some bonus from one specific class. And that's just scratching the surface of magic items that you can use. The wondrous magic items. So, I think this video is droned on long enough. Let me see how long. A little bit over an hour. Yeah, I need to upload it and get ready for work anyway. So, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this discussion. I need to get something to drink. I'd appreciate it if you liked and subscribed if you're not already. If you haven't already. And I would appreciate any comments on what other things you could do, because I think there was a few other things that I had thought of and I just didn't have listed on my notes. Or if you can think of other ways to make a character even more powerful. With that, thank you for watching and bye.